Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor, coming at you to tell you a little bit what's going on in my mind and tell you what's going on in the world. Make sure you go to CadillacCounselor.com and get all your gear and all your swag, whatever else that you want to do. Got a lot of information about the things that I do within the criminogenic. Always hit it up. Make sure that you understand it, because that is the new thing and it's coming at you live. So, first thing we want to get into is I want to talk to you about this movie called Hillbilly Elegy. Hillbilly Elegy. Whatever it is, man, it's just a...
My family is from Kentucky.
Coal miners?
JD, it's Mom. Can you...
Honestly, what it is it's a movie about a bunch of drug addicts and a family. It is what it is. Me, I'm always down to review because I like to see if whether or not some of these movies really depict exactly what's really going on in the world. Ron Howard, great person to make movies. So I gave it a little bit of credit right from the get-go just because I like Ron Howard and some of the perspectives that he brings. Then, second of all, I like a movie that's based on a true story. We don't really know how much is real or not. At the ending, it did have like a little recap. The first thing I can say is there was some really good acting that kind of depict kind of what the situation is in a life. But first thing I'm gonna say is this movie is not really about drugs. It's not about really drug addicts. That's kind of a little piece of it. It's kind of like saying It's kind of like saying Talladega Nights is about race cars. Yes, it is, but really it's not. This movie is more about a dysfunctional family, point blank. Anytime you look at a family that has secrets, anytime you're hiding secrets, your family is dysfunctional, period. It's a movie about dysfunctional people. That's what it is. Rotten Tomato gave it 26%. IMDb gave it 6.6 out of 10. Not really that good. Rolling Stones gave it a 2 out of 5. That means that the movie sucked. But I do like the part where he said, syrup. See, I'm from Texas, so we gonna say syrup. And she talking about syrup. There ain't no such thing as no syrup. It's only syrup. Syrup. Google it if you want to. The reviews don't really come back well. But for me, I got a different opinion about this movie. Make sure that you continue, because at the very end, I'm going to tell you my real opinion about everything, all right? The main thing is about this chick named Bev. Bev was played by Amy Adams. She did a pretty good job. Made me kind of believe some of the things that she did was addict behavior, the way that she was acting. I would say she definitely had some mental health going on there. It was way more than just the substance, but we'll get back to that in a few minutes. Mima she was it. She was the whole movie wrapped in. I believe that the movie was about her, because when you looked at some of the things that she was doing, she really tried to hold the family together. She was abused. She was beat up by her husband. She set her husband on fire. I mean, there was just all kinds of stuff going on, but she tried to hold the family together. The problem was she was doing it in the incorrect way. The movie really was about a little boy by the name of JD, the son of Bev and the grandson of Mama. This kid had came up out of nowhere, came out of nothing, got to Yale Law School, trying to make a living for himself and trying to get a job, trying to get a girlfriend, trying to keep all this going. And then all of a sudden, Bev shows up, mom, addict, overdose. Then the movie really gets cranking. How I know this is really about dysfunction is just kind of what the dynamic between Bev, the mother, JD, and the grandmother. Very codependent relationship. I believe that the whole movie was about them passing down codependent behavior. Even when JD knew that he needed to stay, he had job interviews, had been working for years for it. As soon as his mom got sick, he tried to detach from her, put some separation there, but he really couldn't. Why couldn't he? Because he was codependent. So let's kind of talk about what's the difference between love and codependency. Codependency is whenever you truly are in mess. You can't really think. You put yourself last all the time, and you always put other people first. And I noticed in the movie this was being played out. So there was a point in the movie where Bev tried to kill JD. She was driving really, really fast, chaotic, speeding, hitting 100 miles per hour. So all of a sudden, the kid fought out, ran to some lady, tried to get some help. Police was called. Point Bev had the first chance of getting herself back together. The police said, "We know what's going on. Let us get at this. Let us try to figure this out. All we need to do is say, tell us." The police asked JD, "Tell us what happened." The rest of the family stood back, looked at him while he was about to tell what really happened, but then he didn't. And as soon as JD told him that nothing really happened, the grandfather came by, Paw said, "Hey, good job. Way to stick up for your family." That right there showed me right from the get-go that this was not a movie about substance abuse. It was about codependent behavior. Second time, JD was sitting in the house and he was kind of chilling. His mom came up. She had some nursing issues. She came up to him, handed him a cup for some urine, and was like, "Hey, I need you to pee in a cup for me." He refused. He said, "No way. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of living this life. You do what you have to do to get yourself out of trouble. You shouldn't have got high from the get-go." The grandmother stepped in, calmed everything down, pulled him to the side and said, "Listen, if you help her out this time, you never know, this might be the time that she really changes." Is that real in the substance world? I'm gonna tell you, I see it all the time in my office. People always think that the next time they do something or they do a dysfunctional behavior, that it's gonna change the dysfunction in the family. Never works. To me, there was a lot of realistic aspects of the movie that I really liked. Bev cut her wrist and she came up and she was running in the middle of the street yelling for help. Then the police walked up, came up on the scene. What did they do? They went straight to the boyfriend, slammed him up against the wall. That's what goes on in our community. Don't think that's fake. It's not always the person screaming that's the person that really needs the help. And sometimes we get caught up looking at people just because we think the scenario. You see a woman bleeding, you see a man running behind her trying to grab her. Police, you might want to figure out what's really going on before you start pushing people against cars. There was a time when JD took a test when he was a kid and he failed the test, and the teacher pretty much told him, "If you don't get your stuff together, you're going to fail." Why didn't the teacher ask questions? When teachers see a kid struggling and see a kid failing, why not ask the kid really what's going on? What's going on at home? You might see what really happens whenever you ask a kid what's going on instead of shaking your finger at them and telling them that they got a problem. Stop shaking your finger and stop demanding teachers. Pay attention to what's going on with the kids. Some of these kids have lives that you haven't lived, that's even traumatic lives, and that's what the problem is. A kid ain't gonna make good grades if he doesn't eat and his parents are strung out getting high. His mom was getting high. Why didn't you ask that question? He was living with his grandmother. Why didn't you ask that question? Do you think that there's a reason why a kid's living with his grandparents? Probably because his mom is messed up. His dad is nowhere to be found. That's usually what the problem is. There was a point when JD's grandmother was at the house and she needed Meals on Wheels, and that was the only meal that she has. And I'm gonna tell you, that's a really good thing. I've seen Meals on Wheels save people's lives. We can't just assume that everybody has a meal just because we're all eating. I really like this movie because it depicted and it showed you how important those little plates that those people hand out on the weekends or through the week. But those meals are important because sometimes that's the only time that a kid and their parents is going to eat. And one of the substance abuse issues that I saw in this movie was the fact that the mom, Bev, didn't have any insurance and they were trying to call to find a place to get her some rehab. That's real. If you don't have insurance, nobody will take you. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you might find a nonprofit, you might find something out there that might take you on, but I'm gonna tell you, realistically, you probably won't get any help and it's gonna be really hard. Make sure you get on that Medicaid if you need it. I'm just saying, get it if you need it. Bev was a nurse and she was popping pills and getting high while at work. I've worked with several nurses that were fighting a substance abuse, and I'm gonna tell you, it's really, really hard to keep your license while being a drug addict, because eventually you're gonna get caught, they're gonna yank it. But the one thing that I like about most of these nursing boards is they give people a chance to get their life back together. They gotta go to treatment, they gotta follow all the recommendations, and that's why I like this movie, because it showed that they didn't really yank her license just because she was getting high. It was because she didn't want to get better. Now, there was a lot of good quotes in the movie that I liked. When Lindsay was really upset and she came to JD, and JD was all mad and all worked up. He could not figure out why she kept on being by her mom's side, and she said this, and it was a very good quote for anybody that's codependent with somebody in their family. She said, "I can't defend her, but I'm trying every day to forgive her." And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times that's all we can do is forgive them, because we cannot change them. There's no way that we can, and we can't go back and fix some of the issues that they had with us and the things that they've done to us. So this is the deal. You can't defend them, but you can definitely forgive them. Forgiving is a one-track way. It doesn't take two people to forgive. All it takes is one. There was a point whenever Bev went to rehab and everybody kind of looked at each other and they said, "Do you think that this rehab is going to be the one that's going to change her life?" Let me tell you, I've seen this a whole lot of times, and I'm going to tell you this. All treatment centers work. All it depends on is if the person's ready to change. A treatment center doesn't change anybody, but a treatment center just provides the opportunity for people to change. Stop thinking that treatments are better than the other. It's just some have more knowledge, some are better equipped, and some do a really good job of explaining substances. I know in my office, that's what I pride myself on, is explaining. A lot of people don't explain the process, and that's what happens. And that's the difference between when people get better at treatment, when they don't, is whenever people just tell people what to do, a lot of times they don't get better. A lot of times you have to explain to people what's really going on in the process of withdrawal and how they can fight that battle and give them the power to do it. So it doesn't matter whether or not the treatment center is going to change them. It's about whether or not they're ready to change. But the best part of the movie that I like is at the very end when JD said, "I'm not saving anybody here anymore." That was why I said the movie is not about drug addiction. He finally realized that he could not change his mother. His mother was going to be herself. There was nothing he was going to do. He drained all of his credit cards, spent $3,000, giving one here, one there, trying to get some money, piece it together. I've seen families do it forever. Families put all their money into someone else's recovery when they're not ready. And so once he came to that mindset that he could never change his mother, that his mother had to change herself, that's when the movie showed what it really was about, codependent behavior. So all in all, I'm gonna be honest with you, the movie didn't have that great of acting going on, but for me, I think it had a really good job of understanding and explaining what codependent behaviors are in an addictive family. And then a family with secrets is always dysfunctional. Just always remember that. I give this a true Cadillac recovery-based movie. I give it a 4 out of 5. I wouldn't say it was a 5, but I'll give it a 4 out of 5 because it really depicted the essence of a codependent family within substance abuse. So it's the Cadillac Counselor giving at you. If you got any movies, put a comment down. Make sure you subscribe, hear me out, see what's going on. Love you.